Great news for the Florida State Seminoles as a huge piece of their defense was back at practice this morning. What's the impact there, and what should the Noles expect over the last 5 weeks of the season? After 3 straight losses, the Seminoles needed some positivity, and they sure as heck got it with the addition of their most consistent defensive lineman, Fabien Lovett, who returned to practice for the Noles. Do me a quick favor, smash the subscribe button down below, thumbs up the video, that helps the channel a ton, and let me know your thoughts in the comments on Fabien Lovett coming back to that defensive line for the Noles. The impact of this is absolutely massive, as the interior of the defensive line just hasn't been the same with Fabo out. Robert Cooper did play pretty well against Clemson, if you believe in the PFF numbers, but this will allow Florida State's defensive line to play up to their potential that we saw very early in the season. Obviously, Fabo not playing since that LSU game where he went out late with an apparent leg injury. Getting the anchor of that defensive line back will keep teams from double-teaming Coop and should allow FSU to stop the run a little bit more efficiently and effectively. The bye week comes at a great time as well because it'll give Fabian 2 weeks to get back into game shape, and he doesn't have to play a game just 4 days after returning to practice. Let's talk about the rest of the season. 4 of FSU's last 5 opponents aren't all that great at running the ball. Georgia Tech runs for about 150 yards a game. They're up next in 2 weeks in Tallahassee. That's good for 68th in the nation. Miami's even worse, an abysmal 143 yards a game, which is good for 178th in the country. Syracuse runs at a clip better. They're at 188.5 yards a game, which is good for 36th in the nation. Reminder, though, on them, they're doing it against the 51st most difficult schedule to date in the nation. I would expect that trend of running for nearly 200 yards a game for Syracuse will go down as they take on Clemson, Pittsburgh, and Notre Dame over their next 3 games before they face the Seminoles. Louisiana, who the Noles will face before they take on Florida, runs for 115 yards a game, which is good for 104th in the country. And Florida's the one that runs it really, really well. They'll come to Tallahassee on Black Friday. They're the best of the remaining 5 opponents. They go for about 212 yards a game on the ground. Noted Anthony Richardson does account for about a quarter of that. And so I think that'll be less on Fabien Lovett, more on our linebackers, potential spies, and where the Noles are able to align and stop him or limit him when it comes to the ground attack. So Fabian will help a ton in all of these games against teams that do run the ball well or do not run the ball well because he just clogs up that middle. That combo of Robert Cooper and Fabien Lovett in the middle of that defensive line is really one of the best tandems and allows that defensive line to just play as a cohesive unit so much better than with him out. Having Jared Verse off the edge, having Cooper and Lovett in the middle, and then having your younger guys that have rotated in, and your Farmers and your Paytons that have done really well, having them all there, having that full complement of healthy defensive linemen is going to help the FSU defense tremendously. The push up the middle and the edge rushing off the ends from Briggs, McClendon, and Verse should have the Noles looking good defensively on the back half of the schedule. Again, you play 4 out of 5 opponents that aren't all that great at rushing the ball. The 5th one, Florida, you will need to do some work there for sure. But I think it sets up really, really nicely for the Noles to get back a key piece, not only defensively, but a key piece for their entire program for the last 5 games of the year. Mike Norvell hasn't commented that he's fully ready to go or 100% just yet, but I do believe that him being out at practice today is a really, really good sign for the Seminoles as the stretch run will get underway here with Georgia Tech in just under 2 weeks. The Noles are set up and relatively healthy for the stretch run of the season. Getting back their stud defensive tackle for it puts them in a great position to have a lot of success. We'll see what they do with it. You've got to go out there and you've got to make plays. How does he play coming off the injury? We'll see. But you've got to like this news for the Seminoles as they get the bye week started this week. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Again, what will Fabo's impact be? Let me know in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. See you guys next time. Go Noles.